r/AskReddit. Rule 34 Artists of Reddit. What was it like on the first time you started drawing porn? Annoying. The first time you try to draw anatomy you've never done before, it's a pain in the boobs are surprisingly hard to make look right. Then again, some people pull a Michelangelo and staple them on, and it looks awful but no one notices. Edit. Well, now my top comment is my bitching about poorly drawn boobs on the internet. I should not be surprised. Drew a stickman with one leg too many. I had no idea what I was doing and drew really terrible anatomy. It really helped me realize that even for my SFW works, perfecting a character's anatomy is very important to do before clothing them. Now it's just the same as if I was drawing anything else, except I'm mildly horny during the process. Edit. I don't post anything on Reddit or under this name BTW. Just a heads up. I often used porn as a reference for drawings because it's easy to find pictures of naked people of all sizes in every imaginable posture. So it wasn't that much of a leap. It was on Danboru. You get a lot of likes and commissions. Easy money. But it gets old real quick. Don't know what people's deal is with tentacles. They always need more. I was inspired by Manara, who is a very fine artist. But he didn't only draw porn. You also start to understand things like why gynecologists aren't aroused by their work. I was in math class and I was bored. You start with your own unique style, but kinda like the Skyrim stealth archer meme, you eventually and inevitably end up drawing for furries. It's a side hustle. I'm not a full-time artist or aspiring to be one. It's a hobby for me, but dead as furries put artists through college. It's a solid way to make money, but it's embarrassing. Hence why I don't tell anyone I do it, BC they'd judge me. The first time I was just kind of like, damn, has it really come to this? But now it's just a convenient way to make money. It was really embarrassing, lol. I had to put down my tablet pen and just contemplate every 5 minutes because I felt like an absolute fool. Artists can't find the right porn to jerk off to. Makes 1000 yeah. Posting for my since she does not use a Reddit. Pros. Money is great. Nobody bitches and whines about paying in exposure. Most clients are polite. Cons. Some requests make you hate human race. You can't even mention you are a female cause they will simp all over you. Some clients can be very picky about end products details. Don't ask. Sometimes I see Rule 34 commissions my girlfriend is working on, and I'm just really confused why somebody wants to have a drawing of that. It's a decent side income for her, and most people who commission art from her seem quite polite and reliable about paying compared to when she does other stuff like band logo commissions. They just request some really odd things. A giant robot fridge with a that comes out of the freezer compartment that's simultaneously screwing a furry skunk character and turning them into an ice cube was a pretty memorable why moment. It was the other day. Someone told me to do it, and it seems I always do what I'm told. Their suggestion and my talent yielded something the world should never have seen. What was it like first? Well, I had to change my underwear a couple of times. Being able to draw exactly what you imagine is something that's hard to describe without trying it out. When I first started sharing my art online, I used to get somewhere between 0 and 10 likes on it. After switching to NSFW, those numbers went to 100s and sometimes 1000s. I still haven't made any money out of this, but that's something I hope to be able to do in the future. Well, I got really horny, as expected. Really easy finding good references GBH. Rule 34 Artists of Reddit. I just want to say, thank you. Visions of dicks dancing in the head. Halfway through I lost all horniness, and it became about getting the proportions right. Me. Checking the accounts of all the people who said they draw porn. I got off to my own shit, and realized I had a destiny to fulfill. I was pretty young, like 12y/0 or something, and I used to draw it when I was horny. That wasn't too often though, but it was interesting, weird and confusing. I didn't figure out myself yet, lol. It took me years, To notice I like to draw NSFW for its artistic and narrative value, aside from titillating other people, and nowadays I'm trying to grow a NSFW Twitter account and see where it leads me to. Sadly, I haven't got tons of money from it, just a few commissions. Till, I didn't need to know any of this, just had to read it all. Can't unsee. Okay, to be fair, I'm definitely not a porn artist. I only draw it very occasionally, mostly to get over art block, for some reason. Just drawing funny poses without worrying about clothing folds is great for busting art block. But I do remember the first time I drew something very explicit instead of just some boobs or suggestive content. I drew it in a teeny tiny notebook when I was like 16. Just some normal anime porn stuff. And then I got so embarrassed that I hid it at the bottom of a drawer. And then, later, I found it again, in a completely different spot. My mom found it at some point. She must've. However, neither of us have ever brought it up. Years later, I still think about it sometimes. I was trying to do SMTH for my ex. I was getting into digital art for fun, and I struggled with the human body and skin. So she told me to draw her from memory, and I did, and she liked it. So she told me to draw stuff for her from time to time. Wattpad fanfics basically. She described the character and I would draw them, and she lines be like, "Oh yeah, it's odd seeing a representation. Thakas hun." I felt awkward, but it was hilarious too. I just started drawing NSFW fan art as a kid, and never thought it was a weird thing to do. Can't really say. I had a commission one day, and I rarely get commissioned. That was futanery and my then husband came home, got a glance at my Wacom screen and simply shook his head. These days I get the usual questions of, don't you get aroused by your own art? Do you mind if I jacked it to your work? Damn. It's straight up like living a double life. I have a secret folder on my laptop, filled with NSFW sketches that I've made of characters from my favorite anime/cartoons. I only draw these things when my girlfriend isn't at home, and if she comes home unexpectedly, I close everything down as quickly as possible so she doesn't find out. I've had a few close calls, and she can probably tell I'm hiding something. Sometimes I even worry she thinks I'm having an affair, when in reality I'm just drawing smutty cartoon pictures. Not a porn artist, but once I was 14, and I drew a man and a woman having an intimate moment on a paper. Next thing I find are my drawings being organized on my desk. My mom had went through them. I'm glad she did though, because now she thinks I'm straight. Well, my buddy asked me to draw Hitler getting docked by Big Chungus. It's uploaded to my profile, you sick freaks. Not an artist, but I have online friends who are digital artists and some of them draw Rule 34 drawings. They always share some of those arts with us and then express their embarrassment of drawing those. When I was really young, like 11 or 12, I drew a tasteful furry pin-up. Growing up in the 90s year, exposed to lots of cute furries via cartoons. It was exciting, because my religious upbringing blanketed nudity and the body with shame. My mom found it, and gave me a talk, that I was too young to be drawing like that. Several years later I would doodle stupid implied NSFW scenarios of my ox with my friends from roleplay groups multiple times weekly. Cut to the present where I draw a porn comic as my major hobby, and take occasional commissions. Since it isn't my livelihood I can refuse the real crazy ones. People wanting nude art of 13 Yoanin girls. For example, I legit love drawing porn. Though. You go from haha, I'm drawing boobs. Hope nobody finds this, to HMM. I've never drawn that kink before. Let's try it. Shockingly fast. I honestly think one of my friends would be a good R34 commission artist. But considering they get awkward when they draw people kissing, I dunno lol. Important questions also for Rule 34 artists. How do you feel about people leaving horny comments about your art? Because everyone in Rule 34 is tired of seeing these comments. Morality is relative. Commissions are horrid in the furry community. I'd rather get covered. The requests are disgusting. The outcome even more. I needed money, but now I can't take it anymore. I was bored by the lack of porn with redacted in it and I said to myself, If they don't draw, I will. My friend. There are two types of artists. Those who draw porn and those who don't admit it. Pros. The actual making the art is super fun. I feel like I learn better anatomy the more I draw NSFW art. I don't have to deal with drawing fabric folds. And there's a huge increase in views/follows. I even have been learning more about skin textures, lighting on different fabrics, lace, satin, nylons, and being able to practice a variety of body types. Cons. Random users searching for DOMs or telling me they masturbate to my art. Making NSFW art is not permission to send personals and I'm 0% interested. I know more popular NSFW artists have gotten worse messages, but it shouldn't be normalized. Also, art theft is not taken seriously. A lot of people don't consider porn art or digital art real art. Someone used my art for their OnlyFans advertisement without my permission, and it took forever to get it taken down because it wasn't taken seriously. In high school I started covertly taking NSFW commissions to make some easy money, and it was a lot of just contemplating whether or not it was worth it to draw yet and weird anime shit, and basically questioning just what in the solar I was doing with my life. I was able to buy some sick video games with all that hentai dollar, but it did not make up for the pain of having to draw lewd furries. Actually really interesting, and such a great lesson on anatomy. I started because there was nothing out there that hid my tastes 100%. Almost the exact second I was done a piece I would lose all interest in the porn aspect of it. I could only see the errors I made, and could only think of how to improve it. I drew Drive, Eggman in a flying machine. Honestly, I felt pretty accomplished. As someone who went to art school and had plenty of life drawing classes, pretty easy actually. After the first few nude studies you learn to embrace the nakedness. From there drawing full on sex is a breeze. I actually had more trouble writing erotica the first time. I was too scared to type out the word comma, like God was going to break down my door and smite me for sinning. Op made this post so that he can check out the profiles of people who respond. I was in middle school. Thought I was being rebellious to my Catholic upbringing. Got my hands on a Boris Vallejo book and practiced drawing nudes. I tried selling porn art at school and made a couple of sales, but most people wanted something sexy, but not full-blown porn. It was okay for the most part until a dude thought it would be funny to stick his crotch and inch from my face, grabbed his fly, and said draw this. There were others there, and they chased him off before he could expose himself. That and the fact I wasn't great at the business side, keep losing track of my jobs, made me quit. Didn't do much until the last couple of years in high school, when I just decided it would just be a hobby. My mom was really angry because I drew a dog man with a 3-foot throbbing girthy cock and graphic detail on the hood of her 1994 Honda Acclaim in the style of Lisa Frank. She's yelling incoherent nonsense at me, some shit about dude you're like 30 and get the out of my house, yeah w/e mom. Last week was tough, man. Not an artist, but a friend of mine who's an artist was asked to do NSFW stuff. He said that it was weird zooming on a and kept cringing, but he endured the most part of it. He was getting paid after all. You think you know what boobs and poosy and dicks look like until you sit down and try to draw them, and then suddenly it's like you have no idea what they even are. I got bored in middle school and tried to draw some, and it turned out terrible because of course. Wasn't till early mid last year that I finally decided if I'm gonna be looking at porn I might as well draw some and get something out of it besides a nut. And now it's like one of my favorite things to draw. Side note about drawing furry porn, it's not as easy money as the jokes make it seem. I have around 2,500 followers on Twitter after about a year and a half of drawing it, but literally 2,300 of those came like overnight because a really big account liked and commented on a thick Coco Bandicoot drawing I did, and that was just about a month ago. I won't plug my Twitter because people hate that apparently, but it won't take you long looking through my post history on here to find my stuff. For anyone who wants to. The first time I drew R34 I got detention and an A on the art project. Didn't care. Needed money to continue the art career. Anatomy practice is anatomy practice. Question to a question. How would one start off? Assuming little to no knowledge or talent. Scary at first. Like I'd just lost my soul. I came from a uber religious family that definitely would say I'm going to hell now. But now it's hysterical to me. Maybe because I never got any kind of sexual reaction to it. Just fear. So the porn just makes me laugh. Oh. And it makes decent money. Edited for typos. I've been waiting for the right time to post this drawing I made. This seems like a good thread to do it. Enjoy. nsfwhttp://imga.com/gallery/903fx. I don't draw too much anymore, and I was never really a Rule 34 artist, but I drew boobs at age 13 on a sketch I was working on and my got hard. I can draw anything. I did it in the past, let me know where to find those people. Not Rule 34, but on DeviantArt people wanted me to draw feet. That was my last request. I started by telling myself that it was art, because I drew nudity and didn't treat it as a drawing I'd jack off to, but rather to make stand out some parts of the drawing cause I think it was an art teacher that told me once that the eye is attracted to nudity, therefore naked PPL have a lot of visual weight. But now looking back on it, it was just porn.